What's up, guys? I'm here in Qatar teaching thousands of entrepreneurs how to scale their companies by leveraging social media, specifically teaching them the systems that have built me to over 20 million followers. Today, we're getting hands-on and I'm about to mentor 12 successful CEOs, and I want to bring you guys along with me so that you can get the same value that I'm about to provide to them. You guys are about to watch me give out my exact system, strategies, video outline templates, a literal step-by-step blueprint of my business model. So if you pay attention throughout this entire conversation, it'll be enough to completely transform your business. And now you're about to hear a little background on these business owners and watch me expand their knowledge in real time.
My name is Tofik. I'm co-founder of Historium. We're a cloud-based POS management solution. We help small stores move to e-commerce through our platform.
Nice.
What we're struggling right now is basically content for problem and solution aware.
I already have ideas for you right now. Video ideas are popping up.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Actually, I brought this to the event and I'm confused what to record exactly.
I'm Tom. I'm from London, and yeah, I'm maybe a little bit different. I'm operating solo as a consultant. I'm going through a bit of a transition at the moment. I used to be in the brand space. I used to be like the head of brand CMO.
Yeah.
But now I've got involved in the AI governance space. I'm basically taking that kind of brand world thinking and going, well, how does your AI need to show up in the world? What are the guardrails and the boundaries that it needs to behave within? And whilst I'm doing that, I also started a podcast called the AI Brand Voice. I recorded 5 episodes. So I just like pushed it out the door and I've just done 5. I'm kind of wondering where I go next with it, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Just kind of got that all kind of started in place. I'm kind of looking for the next chapter now. So yeah, it's been interesting to hear like how you.
I have some ideas for you too. Okay. And how are you?
The goal was to start with Nigerian languages and then spread across Africa. So I think for me, the challenge is obviously how to be able to get the attention.
I think everyone here, you want to get into social media, you want to scale your companies through social media. And so I think like the first thing to really think about and that I like to teach is when it comes down to it, there's 3 different ways and approaches you can get into social media. And I would say like the approach number 1 is going more the viral approach and making videos just to get mass viewership. And then approach number 2 would be more of like a personal brand niche like following. So maybe you as a founder are making videos about your company and you're like, for instance, for you are looking to build more credibility. And so in addition to your podcast, you could be doing content just behind the scenes of being a consultant, being a founder, building up the company. A lot of these companies that you guys are operating, people want to see the founder behind it and they want to see about their life. And then the third approach to social media is building the actual company socials. So maybe with your company, similar to what Duolingo did, is they did a really good job building up their socials. Or even with your company, you could build out the actual company socials. And so with those 3 approaches, I think it's important to take a step back and think, okay, what are my goals? I think it was you. You said you have a camera here, you want to be making content, but you don't know what to do. And so I think a common issue for a lot of people is they're just throwing paint at the wall and they're like, I need to make content. I know that it's going to help, build my company up and it's going to bring more clients and it's going to scale it. But when you're not really purposeful, number 1, with what kind of content you're doing and why you're doing it, it becomes hard. And we'll get a lot more into that. And I want to show you guys some actual resources on how you can stop just posting random videos. But the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is it's really important to like see those 3 approaches, and then you can also do like a hybrid of those. So maybe for you would want to be a hybrid and utilize all of those. So you want to build up your personal niche following as the founder behind your company, but then you also want to run the company's socials. And so that right there, what's powerful is people are going to be really seeing the behind the scenes of you building the company, but then on the company's page, it's stuff that's just directly tied to the company. And then you can also use the viral approach occasionally to make videos that's going to get mass viewership, because when you learn to make videos that are going to get mass viewership, you bring in the mass eyes, and then with those other pillars, you have specific, more niche-like posts where it's like you're getting the right eyes. So I think like that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, is really like seeing the different major approaches and then figuring out what you want to do. And it seems like all of you guys are business owners. So at some level, you're going to want to take the approach of building your actual company socials. And I think maybe some of you guys would also want to build your personal brand as the founder behind the scenes, because that can go hand in hand very well.
So how does the crossover work between a business account and a personal account?
The perfect thing is you have a separate profile for you. It's your name, and then you have your business's profile. and you have somewhat different content strategies, but on your personal brand, you are talking about your company, and naturally it doesn't seem like an ad or a promotion because people are following you for you, and maybe it's your journey building this company. So it's just naturally you're talking about it, and so that obviously sprinkles in, you know, promoting your brand. And then on the actual brand socials, it's all heavy on promoting the brand, but then you sprinkle yourself in as a founder, so they complement each other.
You have all the people you're targeting all over in different continents.
Yes.
What happens in that case? Do you have to take them one at a time
No.
to target this area?
No. For instance, for you, if it can be worldwide, I would not worry about, I need to do this content to target this, you know, category, this content to target this category. And also what's good about a business like yours is a lot of what comes down to social media, I'll break down the systems more, but it comes down to also seeing, like, you could look exactly what Duolingo is doing on social media and look at what they're doing right, and then in your own unique way, you can replicate that. But something they did really well, they built their social media in a creative and viral way, so they got so much mass viewership. Some of their videos aren't even directly promoting Duolingo. They've done such a good job making those extremely viral videos, but then they have specific videos that talk about how they help you learn different languages. So for instance, I would say from an organic marketing front with your company, if you could think of like, make different content buckets, I like to call it, and one is viral. You want to have those viral ones that's going to reach a lot of eyes. Then you need to have some videos that are going to really more convert, and people are going to understand what kind of service your company is providing. Because then when you get that 10 million viewed video, that's great, but you also want that to trickle and bring engagement to your other posts that are going to more directly convert to a customer. Because obviously it's simple to just be like, you have to know your approach, but even then you're still left with not a lot of knowledge. I know we don't have a lot of time, but my goal is I want to be able to give you guys like a systematic approach so that you guys know after this you can have a clear path forward.
The methodology that you just said, okay, does it also apply to our case? We are dealing with enterprises.
It's a little bit different because you're not trying to get like a mass amount of customers, you're like more targeted. So I don't think I would go too much so the viral approach, because there's no reason for you to get these mass eyes if none of them are qualified. I would niche down. For you, I would specifically be like, what is my clientele and how can I make content that's still organic so that people are going to see it in an organic way. But the thing is with social media and the way the algorithms work, the right people will be brought. So I would not worry for you about the mass reach. For you, I would worry about the mass reach. In your case, I would more make content specifically to get the right clientele. And don't worry, you're not going to worry about a 10 million viewed video, because for you, a 20,000 viewed video is a huge win, because a 20,000 viewed video for you that was made for a specific person is going to be very powerful.
What's your mindset for getting content out? Are you quite relentless?
So I completely engineer all of my content ahead of time. Like I would say, like for instance for you, if you're like, I want to allocate 3 days a week to filming, I try and draw them away from that. I say, no, you should be planning for 2.5 days, fully outline your videos, fully know, like for instance for you, you don't know what you're shooting here, you're just shooting. And that's why you're not going to get traction going about it that way. What you really need to do is like, spend the time perfecting the video before it's even filmed. And when you know the right approach and the right system to actually outline a video, virality is no longer luck. It's pretty predictable. So for me, all my videos, I can watch them in my head before I've even ever filmed it and have a really good idea of how it's going to perform. I have it outlined, and then on film day, there's pretty much no stress. And then I have like editing teams as well, and there's no stress there because everyone ahead of time was on the same page. So to answer your question on like relentlessness of posting, I would say it's important to post consistently, but what's way more important is quality over quantity. For instance, you started your podcast, you've rolled out a few episodes. I would say like really take time, like being purposeful. So short form content can come out of that, right? And so what you should do is before you even do the podcast, you should think, how could I make 5 viral short form clips out of this long form podcast? Literally have questions that are gonna come up in the podcast specifically to make clippable viral shorts out of, to then draw traffic to the long form. So everything's like a method. It's better to actually like have a methodical approach to it than to just be like, I need to get the content out. For me, I do like being consistent, but I would prefer to post less and know what I'm posting and why I'm posting it rather than post a bunch of random videos.
Would you recommend like, maybe you've got a production team, right? But like if you're doing it on your own, like if you set up your podcast to do, like you said, maybe over 3 days, try and get as many as you can done. And then you go about editing it and getting them out. Just try and systemize my own process.
Yes, so a system's super important. So that's something for me starting out. I spent the first few years, built out a pretty large following, but I was involved in every aspect of this business. I didn't treat it like a normal business. Like a normal business, you want to build systems, you want to allow it to where you can delegate roles and you can continue to scale. And when I first started social media, the biggest mistake that I made, the systems that I had built were just fully reliant on me. So I had to be fully involved in the creative process. I had to be fully involved in the filming, and I had to be fully involved in the editing. So what I would say now, the systems that I've built that I want to briefly be able to show you guys are fully systemized to where you're not going to worry about all the different logistics. You're going to have everything uploaded to your editors, and they're going to have the actual outlines because things can get lost in translation. And that's the other reason why it's important to actually outline your videos, have a template, because not only does it help on film day, but when you're trying to actually operate a team, you have to have it all organized. If you're doing it all yourself, you could get away with not having a systematic approach and not having a video outline. But when more people get added to the equation, you have to make sure your vision's properly executed on paper, because then you can fully detach, you can step away, things can go out way quicker, but your vision stays aligned. Otherwise, what's gonna happen is content's gonna fall apart, because when you try and scale, you take a step back, and then all of a sudden the vision you had never is executed on right. So that's another reason why it's so important to have that true systematic approach to it. All right, I wanted to take a quick break to talk to you guys watching this video. If you don't have all the time to figure this out yourself and you want some hands-on help from me, click the link in my description to watch my free training video. All right, now let's get back to it.
So you mentioned differences between having content on your own account and on your company's account.
Yeah.
Can you go more in details, like what should you be posting on your own and on your company's profile? Can I be flexible on my own account, share lifestyle stuff, even
100%.
Even if I'm an entrepreneur, and
100%. So obviously you can do anything you want, and so it depends on what your goals are. But if your goals are ultimately you want to scale your business, what I would say is on your personal profile, building your personal brand, you need to develop multiple different content buckets. So let's say you have 4 content buckets. One style of video is going to be talking about you as a founder, talking about your brand. But another one could be lifestyle, maybe you just showing what your lifestyle currently looks like. Maybe there's a sport you like, maybe I don't know what that looks like for you, but you should have different buckets of content that serve different purposes. And then people aren't just following you just for your business, they're following you as a person that just so happens to be the founder of this company, that just so happens to like these things, and you're really building that personality around you. Obviously, it's gonna be different on the company's profile. It's gonna be heavy targeted on the company, but then you as a founder will make appearances. And I think that's something that's cool, is seeing a lot of these companies now, the founders of the companies are actually involved in the company's social media videos, but then in addition, they still have their own personal brands on social media. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. And how do you choose which platform to post basically, or mainly? Should it be LinkedIn?
So you're asking what platforms to post on? I would say right now, the major platforms to get momentum on, obviously if you're already making the content, it's stupid not to publish it everywhere. But the main ones I would say would be Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Those are the main 3. Obviously, outside of those, you might as well post on everywhere. Might as well have it on Facebook, might as well have it in all the different platforms. You can have it on Twitter, X, you can have it everywhere. But I would say if you can master the art of making short form content that converts and that engages people and that people can resonate with, your 3 main platforms should be TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube Shorts, for example, is huge. And if you want to spend the time to make long form videos on YouTube, you can do that, and you can get it gets in depth, but we don't have enough time to get super in depth with it all. So I want to be able to hone in on the short form stuff right now. But the nice thing is, you're already spending that time, that effort, and so you can now allocate more time and effort knowing that it's going on multiple different platforms. So those are the 3 main ones I would recommend posting on.
What about LinkedIn?
If you're already an established beverage company, you don't really have a reason to be posting that much, in my eyes, on LinkedIn, because you're not really looking for any more brand partners. You're looking to scale your customer base. And so if you're a drink company, you're going to want to be all over social media so that when people go into the gas station, they're getting your drink company. It doesn't have to be just a drink company, any product-based company. For a B2B company, I would say for you it's obviously different, and for you it's obviously different. But for those of you that have the B2B companies, it's not going to make as much sense to make this content that's just getting a bunch of eyes, because you're looking specifically to partner with the businesses. I would say LinkedIn would obviously make a lot more sense.
I think that it probably helps with credibility though, right? If they see you talking about that topic and then people later on, they're like, oh.
Yeah, well, okay, so for a B2B company, I wouldn't really make my actual business on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I would more so focus on building my personal brand, because it does help with credibility. And then when people on LinkedIn see your other socials, they click the links, and then they see you, the founder behind the company, and they do have credibility. But if you're for a B2B company, it makes less sense to really have a hard organic marketing push for the business itself, you'd want to more focus on you and building your personal brand.
Does it depend on the number of followers?
The more followers you have is going to look a certain way, but if you're trying to convert a customer, then it's more about qualified followers. Who cares about having 100,000 followers if they're not going to convert, if you're trying to convert a product versus you could have 10,000 followers, but they're specific. So that's why it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier about like knowing your approach. Your approach would look a lot different than her approach or his approach. For instance, like for me, built up 20 million followers. What that looks like is I monetize directly from the platforms because I'm getting billions of views, and so I'm making money there. I'm also partnering with companies, and brands will pay me to just put their product in my videos to bring them more eyes. And then in addition to that, building my own product-based company, now I'm my own, instead of spending millions of dollars, I can now for free market my own product-based company. Another thing that I'm doing, which is why this is fun for me to be able to like mention you guys in real life, I have a consulting company where basically all the systems and methods that built me 20 million followers, we bring them to other entrepreneurs and basically give them a full system to where all they have to do is follow it, and then they're gonna have predictable and repeatable viral growth on social media. And so that's another thing. I've built up a following, and so it allows me to go off into these different offshoots and ventures.
So how does it work, like actually building up the follower base? Like, is there a formula to it?
Yeah, there is a formula. Let me walk through.
I just want to keep quiet to see
So
what's coming.
yeah.
So you start with a video idea, right? Going from a video idea to a viral video, that is everything that's within here, right? And then strategizing from a more zoomed out approach is how you don't just have one viral video, but you can replicate that and have a page that has continued momentum. So at a very high level, I'm first just gonna go over this. It starts with an idea. An idea really means nothing if it's not executed on. For me personally, I would rather have a mediocre idea that I had a lot of planning for than an amazing idea that I had no planning for. So it really comes down where the magic happens, which we'll get into, this phase right here, which is making a detailed video outline. And also in the strategizing, post schedule, and building momentum, these two areas right here is where it's really like engineering the virality. But first, start with an idea. From there, you formulate it into a video outline. And I have templates I've built that like all of my viral videos, I use the same exact, I have like 4 major templates I use, and I just am able to turn that idea into that template. And that's how for me, I'm able to just pretty consistently have virality on repeat over and over and over again. From there, you have your outline done. Now filming. The good news is, it's so simple. Everyone thinks they need all this camera gear. All you need is literally your iPhone right here. All you need. You don't need anything else. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Again, the magic is in the video outline, in the video plan. Then editing. I would say for all of you guys, you're already busy. You probably don't have time to edit yourself. I would not motivate or encourage you guys to even edit yourself at all. I would say you should start out from the very beginning with having an editing team. It can be remote and it can be very cost effective. And guess what? If you have a really good video outline, it's gonna be easy for your vision to come out right and for your editor to do a good job. Then posting, that's also important because depending on each platform, there's small little micro changes. You have that video, it's done, the editor sent it to you, but depending on which platform, you have to have a different approach. So on YouTube, you have to make sure the thumbnail looks a certain way and the title looks a certain way. On TikTok, there's just those small little things. It's not that complicated, but it makes a difference. And then that's everything right there from the idea to the video. But if you just have one video that goes viral, it means nothing. And so then another thing we'll touch on is actually strategizing a post schedule and building momentum. So what I like to do is I'll reverse engineer everything. I will basically, before I filmed anything, I'll look at a calendar and I'll be like, okay, this is my posting calendar. And if I, on this month, were to make like a video here, a video here, a video here, and I start moving around the dates, like how I could build momentum, and like in my eyes, I'm like, well, if this video performs well, what you wanna do is you wanna have another video ready to post. And if you maybe do a series of like your journey as an entrepreneur or building out this company, people are gonna follow along for more. So you wanna it's called stair stacking. And it's a method that I created that's been huge for me. And so you wanna learn to stair stack that momentum. So for me, even from the very start, before I script my videos, I look at like building momentum ahead of time, and then I'll kind of go into my logistics calendar and be like, how can we achieve this? And then we'll start making the video outlines and go from there. But that also gets into not just making a viral post, but actually having a page that's gonna continue getting consistent viewership. All right, this is where the magic happens. This is where you guys are gonna be stoked. These are my video templates and they all serve a different purpose. Template A, this is like when you have an exact vision for your video, and this, by the time you finish this template, you can literally watch the video in your head before it's even made. So that is for something that maybe it's a storytelling video. For you, I already had ideas. So basically your company, you're helping people that have stores get online, right? If you execute on this, I think this would be huge. I think you should do a video and you should do a whole series where people want to actually see like storytelling and see it in real time. You should have someone film you walking into the actual store. So let's say it's a clothing company, and let's say you walk in there, it shows you meeting the store owner, talking about your company, talking about how like, hey, this real life store, you can be making so much more money by reaching a worldwide audience. But it'd be really cool to like show that behind the scenes process. But me telling you that right now, what you're probably thinking is like, oh cool, I'm gonna go film it, and you're gonna go film it, and then you're not gonna know what to do with it, and then you're left in this same issue. And so for you, you'd wanna use template A. You literally plan it all out ahead of time. You're gonna talk to that store owner, and you guys are gonna script it all out, and you're gonna have an exact vision of like how this is gonna play out. And so that's why I will spend literally days planning one video sometimes, and I'll spend 30 minutes filming it. It's all about the intentionality behind it. The first 2 to 4 seconds, you need an extremely viral hook. So you need it to be visually stimulating and verbally stimulating. People don't have long attention spans, especially nowadays. People are just scrolling, and if you don't hook them in immediately, they're gone. And no one really cares to be sold on an ad. That's why you want to film on your phone. If you have the cinematic video where you're talking about your company, people just think it's an ad and they're gonna scroll away. So you need to really be able to hook in the viewer organically, and it needs to be visually and verbally stimulating. So that is like one of the first, I guess, ingredients to coming up with this a viral video. And then from there, you need to give them an itch that they cannot scratch. So after that hook, they need to be drawn in for the remainder of the video. So that's also important. And while you're like turning this idea into a video outline, you're thinking about all of this. And then from there, you want to continue building suspense or engagement while you're telling a story, and then have a good outro. And an important thing is you never want dead space in the video. So for instance, for you, maybe it starts out with a voiceover, and it's like, today we're gonna go to this store and attempt to convert their real life store into an online business. And so maybe that's voiceover as you're walking into the store. Now you don't want 5 seconds of dead space of like showing you what. Instantly it needs to either go directly into commentary, you're now talking to the business owner, or there needs to be more voiceover. And if there's gonna be a part in your video where there's not commentary or voiceover, there needs to be a reason for that. Like you need to have a song that something's happening, like there is no room for dead space. You literally have to craft this video to be hyper stimulating. This video, for example, it got 100 million views. And people think, like they see my videos and I think they just think we filmed it and figured it out after. It's like, no, we spent so much time crafting it. And also, this is what it looks like. So this section right here is where the actual voiceover, and then when I say commentary, that would be like real life talking. Those get patched together. Let's say the way you're introing the video is you talking. Today I'm doing this, and then maybe it goes into voiceover. If it's you talking, all that is all together. And then underneath, you have a shot list that directly corresponds with the actual voiceover or commentary. And so this seems like overkill, but it's not. Like this is where the magic happens. And so how it works is the shot list is in order not of how you film it, but of how it's gonna play out in the video. By the time you're done with a video outline, you should actually be able to read it off, and because you know with each part you're reading, it's directly correlating with the shots in order, you should be able to watch that video in your head before it's filmed. So that's how I'm kind of breaking that down. And then on the left, to help you on film day, it has the shot order, so you know like sometimes you're filming out of order. And so that just makes it all simple. You do the overthinking ahead of time. You guys aren't filmers. You can't just be like thinking all that in the moment. It needs to be planned ahead of time. And the other thing is, when you have this systematic approach, you don't have to be doing all this. You have the system, and you guys, I don't know where you guys are at with your businesses, but you can hire this out. You can be as zoomed in or zoomed out as you want, but when you have a system, it allows you to do that. It gives you the control and the freedom to have a team doing it for you or to do it yourself. When you don't have a system, it's all just chaos. That was just for a very planned out video. Another template I have is for like a video, which I think you guys would be doing less of, but maybe you don't want it to be fully planned out. You want it to be like spontaneous and in the moment. And maybe this is for like your personal brand, right? This is like how you would template something to where you could be in the moment, not having to like have every shot perfectly planned, but you still at least have like a viral intro planned, a viral outro. You have an idea of the song you're using. And then my other templates are just different ways to basically go about that same template A. So the major ones are template A and template B, because it's like really overplanned video, spontaneous video. You can't have a spontaneous video without any structure. You still need some structure. And so those video outlines is where it might seem a little complicated, but when you have my templates and you use my templates, it really just breaks it all down and just gives you a clear path of like, okay, here's how we actually execute on it. If you would have already known this before you came to this event, you could have had 5 video outlines and you could have known exactly what shot you need to get, when you need to get it. And then you would have been leaving this event with content that's gonna perform high. The worst thing is that like indecision and like, you know, not understanding what you're doing. And then when you post it, it's not gonna perform. But when you have purpose and intentionality and you know now how to craft a video, you know how to make it engaging in the beginning, you know how to carry the story through, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is working. Obviously, we briefly talked about the different content buckets. I'm not gonna re-talk about that. We also talked about like the stair stacking method. This kind of like gives a better example. You know, when you post a video, you actually need to know how to like keep momentum on your page. An idea for you would be like, maybe you filmed 5 videos here that were planned out well. And then maybe another content bucket is you going to the actual stores. You go into those actual stores, those videos aren't gonna be easy. You have to coordinate with the owner. You know, like that's gonna take a lot of planning. So those are your viral ones. You want to make sure in between your viral ones, you have different style videos, and it's just helping like roll people over into more videos and build more momentum on your page. So an example I'll give is there's a viral video I was planning on filming. This took me weeks of planning. It took me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. Like this was exhausting. And I knew it already had viral potential, but I specifically spent like a month filming other content to build momentum on my page to lead up to that video. And in turn, the series I did got 200 million views on YouTube. And so it just comes down to that intentionality behind it. This kind of gets into the reverse engineering. We already talked on that. But it's all about like, rather than just thinking of a video idea, think about like your overall approach first and work in reverse. And then obviously monetizing, we also talked about, because I want to now be able to like hear your guys' questions and thoughts on that and kind of elaborate.
How can we get the templates?
I'm happy to give you guys the templates. For most people, it's part of working with me, but you guys are here and I'm making a video out of this as well. I will give them to you for free. Yeah, for sure.
Quick question. What's the, how many seconds or what's the longest a video, that can capture an interest and not get too long or boring? What's your usual timeline for your videos?
Okay, so for a short form video, my like sweet spot magic number has always been, it's so random, but it's always been like 39 seconds. I'm like always somewhere between 30 and 40 seconds. But now social media is evolving and longer short form videos are still doing well. And they're also monetizing. So I think what happened is a lot of creators saw they're making more money when they'd make a video that's like 1.5 minutes. And so in turn, people are used to longer videos now. So what I would say is don't worry so much so on like the exact duration, worry about the engagement. And I guess my process is I first will make like the first draft of a video and then I'm watching it and maybe it's 50 seconds and I'm like, how can I'm trying to shave off all the fat. I'm like, what else can I take out? What else can I take out? And sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to take this out, but I want it to be engaging. It should be as long as it can be hyper engaging for. Sometimes that's going to look like 10 seconds. Sometimes that's going to look 30 seconds. Sometimes that's going to look like 2 minutes. And I would say also what's nice is like when you're in this initial stage 1 of testing, you should just do some videos that are shorter, some videos that are longer. And after a month, look at the data and look like what was performing well. And maybe you saw, oh, whoa, my 1.5 minute videos were doing really well. Then repeat what works. Or maybe you're like, oh, the only ones that were doing really well were our 10-second videos. So now you know when you want your viral content, make that 10 seconds and make your longer videos be what nurtures your audience and is more like that niche specific for your company.
Do you prefer animation, in some cases, or just use a human factor?
No, I would definitely say be human. Right now with the way AI is evolving, like I utilize AI a lot, but not at all for the creative process and not at all to be shown in the video. I'll help it with my systems to make things more systematic and to make my process easier. But right now, I think a lot of people are starting to make these animated AI videos and it's lacking personality and it's lacking depth. So I would encourage you guys all, don't be scared to put your face in the video. And if maybe you guys don't want to be on camera, find someone that can be the face of your content.
I think humans are the brand identity now as well.
It's important, and that's where a lot of people are going wrong, and they will go wrong. I know in the next 5 years, because AI is going crazy, like, you know, it's hard to see the difference. AI is going to get good enough so you can't tell the difference, but the thing is, you'll still know like human creativity and human emotion, and I think that that's going to be what really drives the future and differentiates. So I would say my encouragement to you guys would be only utilize AI to really, really, really help with systems, but not to take over the brand identity or the creativity.
Do you like voiceovers? What are your thoughts on that?
I love voiceovers. Voiceovers are huge. I think it's good to have some verbal speaking in there. Some of my videos, I'll know where I want to say something in real life, but the nice thing about like voiceovers is it makes things a little bit less stressful. You can retake your voiceover 1,000 times. I just filmed an intro for a video out there and I stuttered about 50 times and had to redo it about 50 times. That's super natural, and the nice thing about doing voiceovers, you can have unlimited takes. Like I also stutter so much doing my voiceovers, but I just do it until it's perfect. So
Talked about content buckets, right? How do you identify those like topics or subtopics that are related to your business or your personal brand?
Part of it is like knowing your why. Why do you have this content bucket? And like every content bucket should have a reason and a why behind it. But like, let's say, for instance, this is for your actual page and one of your content buckets is like you as a person. For me, I had a speech that I was doing and I was also announcing the launch of my consulting company. There's a few different things I was doing. And so I did a short form day in the life vlog. I didn't have to do any real life talking. It's all gonna be voiceover, but it showed me in the flight on the way here. People wanna see human, they wanna see real. You know, it showed me waking up in the morning, having breakfast, coming here, talking with people like you guys, giving value on stage, all those different things. And then it shows like, just like what my entire day looks like. And then after, I'll voice over and be like, welcome to the a day in life of a 24-year-old entrepreneur. You know, and then I just bring people along for it. You don't want to sound like an ad, like talk too much about your company, sprinkle it in organically in an engaging way. But that would be like a content bucket where you're doing those personalized videos, and this would be a great opportunity to start. And for that, as long as you have an idea for the video, if you're doing a day in the life short form vlog, and that seems weird, you guys might think like, I'm not a vlogger, I'm not this. It's nowadays you can literally set up a camera and just show you what you're actually doing. You don't have to worry about being perfect. People don't want to see perfect anymore. Years ago, people wanted to see that. People are sick and tired of that now. They just want to see real, raw, and genuine people.
Is there like, let's say you're personal, I'm not used to being out there,
Yeah.
right? Is there like some way you can get the same traction, but you don't have to be out there?
Yeah,
There's no-
exactly. You don't have to the base of it, but I will say people do like vulnerability. So you could even be like, look, this is like really vulnerable for me. I don't like being on camera. This isn't like what I'm used to, but you could literally say that. And that would actually endear people to you. But if you just don't want to at all, you're like, no, I don't. Then what I would say, ideally, if you could hire like a head of marketing and have that head of marketing be maybe someone who's young and comfortable on camera, and then they would basically like essentially like learn all of these systems, and then they would either be the face of it. If your head of marketing understands like all these systems, then they could just hire someone as talent who's like likes being on camera, then they tell them exactly what to do. So you don't need to be on it, but I would say people like seeing it and it's helpful, but it is not needed. Like Duolingo, you don't actually see. But I will say, like, you know, they spend money. They've paid me to promote them. They have budget. Like, and so starting out, you might need to be you, or you might need to share your plan with investors because social media is what's going to take it to the next level, especially for your company. So and I think it's really cool. Like, there's already proof. Duolingo did it, and you're now filling a gap that Duolingo's not. And so like there's proof of like how powerful social media is for you. So you just got to now figure out how you can manage to get it together.
I hired somebody that he ended up the face of the company. You know, he's making like videos and he was full-time.
Yeah, so that like that's really cool because like for you could have him as like the face of the company, but then like on your personal brand, people can start seeing you, you know, as like the CEO behind the company, and then occasionally you could even make like appearances in the company's videos too. Okay, perfect. We didn't have a lot of time. Like, I want more time with you guys. All right, I hope that you guys were able to get some value from that. But even at 45 minutes, we've barely even scratched the surface. So if you want to scale your social media to the next level and bring in way more eyes and revenue to your company, then click the link in my YouTube description. And if you're qualified, I will work directly with you. I'll bring you all of my systems. We'll build out a full content plan for you and make sure that you're set up with the right editors and team so that you can have a system that not only outputs high-performing videos, but also a page that's continuously producing viral content. And we'll make sure that you're properly set up to monetize, whether that's monetizing your brand or directly monetizing your content. At the end of the day, building a personal brand on social media is not luck. There is a system, and I hope that I'm able to bring my system just to at least a couple of you guys.